So I don't really know at this point if he understands that he's saying that he can be an extra. What is up, y'all? It is your girl, Nerdy Curls, and today we are here back with another story time. The last story time that I did, y'all, so many of you reached out to me and told me, hey, that's so scary. I'm so glad you got away. There was some people who asked me, did that actually happen to you? Yes. Every one of these story times that I'm doing, this is 100% about me. I am not making any of this up. I'm not going to tell somebody else's story. I don't think that's really not my job to do. But yes, everything that I'm telling y'all, 100% true. But a lot of you reached out and told me how much you really enjoyed my last story time and asked me to continue to keep doing them. So here we are. And if you are new here, welcome. If you have not pressed that subscribe button, please do that and turn the notification bells on. The notification bells, there's two of them. Turn the notification bell on. That way you do not miss any of my videos. So this is going to be another story time. Make sure you get your popcorn. Make sure you get you a little drink. Get you a little snack, whatever, and watch this episode of what has happened in my life. So if you have not watched the previous story time, I will link it above. Probably should watch it because you'll understand the level of paranoia I was at this point in my life. So I had already graduated from college. I was still living, by myself in my tiny little apartment. I had my little ride or die kitty this was in 2009-ish. And I had the litter box for her, but I wanted to make sure, because I was starting to travel for work, I wanted to make sure that if I was out of town for work, or if I was out of town for really anything, that her litter box was clean all the time. She already had a gravity fed feeder and she was good with that, but I really wanted to make sure that her litter box was clean at all times. So I went ahead and I go online and I'm researching different automatic litter boxes, trying to find one that's within my budget. So I find one that's within my budget, and amazing, there's one at multiple stores in my city, which should have been an indication for me to go to a different store than the store I almost got kidnapped at. But again, I was young and stupid, so what do? I go to that same store. So because I was really super paranoid about what had happened, so I kind of had to talk myself into going. And this was really to go to any store, not just that specific store, but to go to any store. I had a certain level of agoraphobia, I guess, but I talked myself into it. I get my little car. By this point I had installed a remote starter in the car, and I went ahead and I go, get my car, and I go to this store. So I walk in and I'm at the spot in the store where all the carts and everything are at, right at the door. And when you're in public and you might just be looking off into space, thinking about whatever you got to do for the day, or you're just looking around and you just happen to make the most awkward form of eye contact in the world with somebody. So that happened, and it happened to be an employee that worked at this store. And this guy, he was I'm 5'8" he was 6 foot 6'1", somewhere around in there, and he was really skinny, super skinny. So I make awkward eye contact with this guy, and I don't know what it is with strangers wanting to do this, but he smiles, he waves at me, and I'm literally I make that the weird face. I realize my face is kind of messed up, and I go, and I look down and I keep going. So I know that I needed to come for this this litter box and to get more cat litter, but there was other things that as I got to the store I realized I needed. I didn't actually have a list. So I'm kind of like going through doing a mental checklist of the things that I needed. So I'm like in like body wash and stuff like that. And I just happened to like look behind me because I was needing to go in another aisle, and I see this dude again. And immediately alarm bells go off in my head. But no, I was here. I needed to get this automatic litter box, so I stayed. So I see him, and he does that weird thing. Like, I don't really know how else to describe it other than like he was like undressing me with his eyes. Like it was really creepy. It was really creepy. He kind of did like this like up and down look, right? So I'm really creeped out. I grab my body wash that I need and my lotion, and I kind of go out of that aisle, and I'm trying to make my way to the pet section. So I'm walking down one of the main aisles that are in this store, and out pops this guy. And it's almost like if you're ever in the store and there's somebody who's like pushing a buggy and you almost like collide because neither one of you sees the other person. It was like that, but he like intentionally jumped out at me. And at this point, I'm like really like weirded out by him. And he goes,
"Oh, hi miss, what is your name?"
And I looked at him, and I just kept walking. Y'all already know, if you've seen that other story time, you already know I was not about to fall into that trap. I was not gonna let him shake my hand 16 million times, because in my mind, I'm thinking these God the Mother people are back and they're gonna try to snatch me because they didn't successfully snatch me the last time. So I just keep on walking, and I'm making my way to the pet aisle, and I hear, and I don't know why strangers like to do this, but I hear,
Miss, hello ma'am.
Y'all know I didn't even turn around. I just kept par for the course, just kept on going. So I'm getting toward the pet aisle, and I look over my shoulder, and he's like 1 to 2 like buggy lengths behind me. And in the back of my mind, there are 2 things going off. One, oh, he's just doing his job, and he's just trying to make sure that I'm like getting everything that I need. Yeah, whatever. The other thing is, they're back, and they got somebody on the inside this time. So I just keep on going. I keep going to the pet aisle, and I see the litter that I need, and I would normally get like the big box of litter just because then I wouldn't have to go to the store for a while. And at this point in time, I probably weighed like about the same as what I weigh right now, but I had a lot more muscle because I was lifting weights. Like I was lifting very heavy weights. And so I grab it, and this box was like a 30-pound box of litter. So I do a deadlift, and I'm going to I turn to put it in the buggy, and he's like right there. And he was
like, "Oh, miss, I've got it. I can grab that for you."
I almost have it in the buggy, and he decides to like jerk it out of my arms and put it in the buggy for me. Look, y'all, like, chivalry is not dead, but if you're gonna be a weirdo, like, you can just leave, just keep that to yourself. Don't nobody want that, right? So I don't even say thank you, which is really rude. And if my mom would have been there when it happened, she probably would have smacked me. But so I turn my buggy, and I'm going into another, because in this store there's like a few different pet aisles. So I go into the next aisle, like where like the litter boxes are at, and of course, because this store moves their stuff around all the damn time, I can't find the damn litter box that I need. So I'm like looking all over the place. I finally see it, and he, at this point, it's really weird because he's like following me, and he's just standing there. He's standing there as I'm like looking at this, like looking for these litter boxes. I find the one that I need, and I go to grab it, and I have it in my hands, and he goes,
"Oh, miss, I'll take that,
and snatches it out of my hands. And I'm literally like looking at him like, dude, what's your problem? Like, leave me alone. So he snatches it and puts it in the buggy for me. And I look at him and I say, thanks, and like turn very abruptly, and I'm walking. There was like 2 other things that I needed, and he's still following me like literally like a lost puppy. Like at this point, I'm very weirded out. And every time I turn around, he's looking at me like I'm the steak he just ordered and he's about to do real bad things to me. And so I'm really creeped out that this guy actually works for this store. And I honestly, on a side note, I should probably drag this store because there was another guy that worked for the store who was an assistant manager like a year or two earlier than that, who his name was actually Curtis Jackson, looked nothing like 50 Cent, and this man threatened a friend of mine and was just trying to be like weird with me. So I probably should drag this story, but I'm not going to. Anyway, back to the story. So I'm walking and I grab like one or two other things that I need and then just decide, you know what, like this wasn't supposed to be a grocery trip anyway, like I'm out of here. So I go to the checkout. I have way less than 20 items, so I decided to use a self-checkout. This guy follows me, and I don't know what this guy's name was. I'm just gonna call him Bob. English was not his first language. His accent makes me think that he was probably from like an Arabic country, or a country that spoke like Turkish or Arabic, something like that. Oh, excuse me. Ooh. So Bob is following me around. So I go to the self-checkout. I'm scanning my stuff and I look and he is standing like where the carts are at the front of the store, and he's talking to another employee. So I stop scanning and I'm just watching him to see like what he does. Like maybe he's gonna go back to work and leave me the hell alone. No. He was not. So instead, that other employee that he was talking to leaves and he's just standing there staring at me. So we have this awkward moment where we're both looking at each other. So I go back to scanning my stuff and I decide I'm gonna scan my stuff and get the hell out of here. So I scan all my stuff, throw it all back in the buggy, and I start going out the store. And with this store, there's two ways that you can come. Well, actually, there's more than two ways that you can come in and come out. But at this particular spot, there's one spot with buggies. All the way at the other end of the store, there's another spot where you can come in and come out. So I decide I'm gonna go to the other spot. So I'm going there, and I hear again,
Miss, hey, miss, stop, I'd like to talk to you. Miss.
Yeah, I was not about to stop. Nope. I was convinced in my mind that this guy was with those God the Mother people and that he was literally gonna kidnap me. So I run for my car. I'm like running out the door. So I am like running out the door. I'm pretty sure this store thought I was probably stealing stuff and they were just waiting for the little beepy thingy to go off. So I run out the door and I run for my car. So as I said earlier, I had a remote starter installed like a couple of months before. So I start my car and I pop the trunk so that when I get there, I can just throw everything in the trunk. So I'm getting there, and of course, it's a 32-pound bag or box of litter. So that's the last thing I put in there. So I'm putting in like the other odds and ends that I bought, and I look and he's running out of the store, chasing me. So he runs and he's still doing,
Miss, please stop. I'd like to talk to you. Miss.
So I'm like loading stuff as fast as I can, but when I get to the litter maid and the litter, it's gonna take me a little bit because they're heavier and like bigger, so it's gonna be a little awkward trying to get them in my trunk. So at this point, he gets to my car and he's like,
Hey, miss, I was trying to talk to you.
Yeah, I know, dude, I don't want to talk to you. But I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm sorry, I have to leave. A little bit more direct, but still not as, like, now I would just been like, leave me alone, I don't want to talk to you. But nope, of course, 21-year-old me. So I go ahead and I'm trying to get the last things in there. I pick up the litter maid. He grabs it out of my hands and puts it in the trunk, and he says,
So what's your name?
And I said, I really don't want to talk to you. Like, I would really just like to leave. And he said,
Well, but I'd like to be your boyfriend.
No. Hey, like, can we go out for coffee? No. What do you like to do for fun? None of that. Just,
I'd like to be your boyfriend.
So I tell him, like,
I'm really flattered, but I have a boyfriend already.
and he says, he kind of thinks about it and he looks at me and he goes,
Oh, it's okay. I can be spare.
again, English was not his first language, so I don't really know at this point if he understands that he's saying that he can be an extra. And I told him a spare. I'm very confused, which I don't know why I didn't just say no, put my litter in the trunk and leave, but I didn't. So I'm like, I don't understand. And he says,
Well, you have spare tire, right?
and he points to my trunk, and I said, yes. And he says,
I can be spare boyfriend.
y'all, I don't know if he was wanting to be like the side dude. And y'all, I didn't even have a boyfriend at this time. I was just saying it so that he would leave me alone, and it didn't work. So I'm like, that's nice, but really I'm not interested. I have a boyfriend and I'm very happy. And he
Says, oh, okay, well, can I have your phone number?
I told him, no, I don't want to be your girlfriend. And so he
Says, well, I work here, so if you change your mind, I would like for you to come back here and we can hang out.
So at this point, I'm past the point of being like anxious and like scared that he's going to kidnap me, and I'm just pissed off. So I grab his little name tag and I'm like, look, Bob, I am not interested in you. I will call this store and I will talk to this manager and I will tell him that you are actually harassing me. Leave me alone. And he says, oh, no. And he puts his hands up like I'm going to shoot him.
He goes, oh, no. I am not harassing you. I'm not harassing you. Please, if you change your mind, just come back and see me.
And then he just stands there. And so I put my litter in the trunk. He goes to grab it and I jerk it away and I put it in the trunk and I close the trunk and I get in my car and he's literally just standing by my car. And I go like this. I start my car and I go like this to like gesture him to go away. Tell me why, y'all. Why? He stood in front of my car. And how I was parked, I could either back out or go forward. So I did what all of our moms did. Put one hand on the wheel around the door, and I just backed out, and I was gone. I was done. Like, I don't know why he decided that he wanted to stand in front of my car. I still don't think he understands what spare actually means, but I was not about to be a part of that. So that's how one of the store's employees harassed me. And at that point, I was very scared to go back to that store. I would not go back to that store without one of my male friends, or like even like a female friend. But if it was female friends, I would make sure I had two with me. If it was a male friend, it would actually be one of my bigger male friends, actually the one who got threatened by another associate at that store. But yeah, I wouldn't go back, and it was like that for like months, until I noticed that guy either was like on a different shift or something from when I would normally go, or he just didn't work there anymore. So yeah, that's how this store associate followed me to my car. I thought I was going to get snatched again, and just told me that he was pretty much wanting to be like the side dude when I told him I had a boyfriend. So let me know if you guys like this story time. Let me know if you want to hear about when that store associate, the other store associate, threatened my friend and tried to be my sugar daddy. Yeah, just let me know in the comments below, or send me an email. And yeah, if you have not already, follow me on Instagram and on Twitter. I post a lot of random stuff on Twitter. On Instagram, it's more like stuff for my channel. So yeah, you can follow me on either of those. And if you have not done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn the notification bells on, so that way you never miss one of my story times. And yes, I said notification bells. But yeah, that's all I have for y'all today. Thank y'all so much for watching my videos and coming to my channel. And I love you guys. I'll see you later. Bye.